expenses and see where you can save money there.
I know that in maybe perhaps not in Oshawa, but in a lot of small towns, because we were talking about cash flow, and I wanted to mention earlier, the GTA is really expanded, and it's a hot market. I don't care what anyone says, it's hot. And I'm going further out and further out and further out, and you end up in small towns that have their own water.
Right.
And I learned a hard lesson. I did an investment in a small town, didn't even think that they just installed a new wastewater treatment plant for capacity of 30,000, and they were downloading that expense, of course, in your taxes. A single-family water bill house was about $3,000 a month.
Oh,
totally. And the rents were good, the property, and there was a mistake on my part, because you're thinking everyone's living there, nice little town, country town, cash flowing. The water, the town owned the water, and they just upgraded. So I think when you're talking about that, water is a huge expense that you really can, as you even said, with the pipe thing. So I just wanted to mention, mistake on my part.
and then make sure to pass that along in some way within your agreements to your tenants.
Sure.
They're paying it, and then you're not as concerned with the utility bill because you've passed it along as much as possible.
Yeah.
So, aside from the expenses side, those are just a few examples.
Sure.
Maybe we can cover some ways to increase income, because people forget that.
Yeah, well, as you were saying, the first, so it seems like the top three are focus on the expenses, but the income side for sure. But the income side is probably somewhat related to your maintenance side, your upgrade side, because let's face it, you don't want to be putting in granite countertops, but you want to be putting in kitchen cabinets that are
really, it's always about the tenant profile, right?
Perfect example.
I think sometimes we get caught up with media and things that are happening.
Yep.
And instead of focusing on, looking at standing in front of a property, looking up and down the street, and looking and thinking about who's going to live here.
That's exact. It's almost like a marketing strategy. Your target market, who is going to rent this?
That's right.
Build the place for them.
That's right. And most likely they're not going to have granite countertops in the area that I'm investing in.
Yeah.
It could be in somebody else's.
That's true.
Very
that's
true.
All joking aside, you can rent a very high-end home with granite countertops, and they're fine. But your strategy is buy, fix it up, rent it out.
Yeah, and just making sure that you're fixing it up to the profile of
the level
of the renter.
Yeah.
With renting it out too, you have to be able to maximize your rent by all the different components that are out there. Sometimes people forget. I have a garage on the side. I can rent that out. If I'm in downtown Toronto, I'm going to rent out the parking space.
Yeah,
Why am I going to give it when I can rent it out as an additional, fee?
So what would we call that? Additional income sources?
Additional income sources. Could be laundry, coin laundry.
Oh, okay.
Right? Yeah, it could be a number of different things. If you're lucky enough to be in a busy area, advertising. Maybe you can work out some advertising on your building. Maybe if you're lucky, you could get, depends on your location, cell phone tower. If you're so lucky to be in that high spot in an area, and have that rented from you, right?
Back in the day when just like yourself, doing full time, I actually had a pet rental, so that if they had a dog, because Quentin, cats, dogs, they're the hardest things on carpets. They're the hardest things on everything, on your lawns. So I just simply said, do you have a pet? And most of them said no. And I said, well, if you get a pet, here you're going to sign here saying it's $15 a month for the pet. You fill out a rental agreement for a pet. Because you say, if you have pets, I want to see them. And by the way, for every pet, it's $10, it's $12. It creates a bit of leverage, but from a maintenance standpoint, really think about it. That's my personal viewpoint. I rented the pets. I charge rent for pets.
If you can get additional income, just for the rent by saying that, you have a pet, all the power to you, right? Because
you're looking at me saying, what the hell are you talking about?
But whatever it is, it's all about creativity.
It is.
And also what's within the Residential Tenancies Act, right? But I think that, we often overlook this sort of stuff. Renting out a storage, storage space, whatever it is that you can do, add that, The other thing too is even fighting your taxes, right? Because it's an expense again, but your taxes are, go back to MPAC and say, oh look at my neighbor's taxes compared to my taxes. Why am I spending so much?